Hey, what is going on, everybody? Today we have a very special video on this very special Easter weekend, and this is on the back of some of the recent revelations and actions, or inactions in some cases, here by Scopely. So in the first part of this video, I want to take a look and express some of my opinions on what's been going on with the recent bans related to what I believe is mainly APK use, and if you don't know what this is, then that's okay. I'll try to explain it to the best of my knowledge later on. Admittedly, I've never used one or know the full extent of it. And in the second half of the video, I want to share with you guys my thoughts on the ongoing offer exploitation crisis. Yes, that's right, crisis, because really that's what it is. And until Scopely openly acknowledges this and addresses this in a similar way to what was done recently here with the APKers, I don't think we can have a Marvel Strike Force with its integrity intact. It really is in Scopely's best interest to want to fix these problems, as the health of the game depends on it. But we'll go into more detail about exactly what the heck I'm talking about later when we get there. So, without further ado, let's get this show started. Alright, so in case you didn't see this recent blog post, this was released, I believe, in the afternoon of Saturday, which was yesterday, which would be yesterday, depending on when you're watching this video. This actually came out during one of my live streams here, and we took a look at this on stream. So if you were there, then my apologies that this is a bit of a repeat. So this blog post is titled "Our Recent Ban Wave," and in case you guys were unaware, actually it mentions here, on Thursday we took action against 1,630 player accounts that we identified as having violated Marvel Strike Force's terms of service. We take the integrity of the game seriously, and banning accounts to be found in violation of our terms of service is something that we do frequently. Do they? I don't know. I would love to hear more about this, because they've never actually mentioned banning accounts like they do here with the actual numbers of 1,630. Unfortunately, with this week's most recent ban action, we incorrectly identified 154 player accounts. I actually know at least one of the people who were incorrectly banned here, and so they did nothing wrong. Upon realizing our mistake this morning, those players had their accounts immediately reinstated. So thankfully, and this is actually interesting, so 154 accounts out of 1,630, that is about 10%, I guess, of them or so, roughly, that were incorrectly banned. So luckily, they did get their accounts back, and if you were one of them, then I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you got your account back. To those players, we apologize deeply for our mistake and the inconvenience our oversight has caused you. In an effort to protect our ability to detect these violations, we tend to talk about cheating and the action we take against it in vague terms. However, given this week's error, it's appropriate for us to be more transparent around the specific incident. This specific incident. It's cut off here on the side. The violations in question involve the use of a third-party app to bypass the normal course of combat in recent weeks. Now, I'll admit I was a bit unclear about what this meant at first. I asked around a little bit, and so this is in relation to the APK use. Now, the APK is typically a third-party program that you would download to allow you to download and install Marvel Strike Force on, a platform that's not BlueStacks, Google Play Store, iOS, and these other things like that, and different devices. So this allows you to kind of bypass other mechanisms in the game, for as far as I'm aware, and do things like blitz spotting, which has been an issue in the past. And you may have noticed that there have been some timed runs in Dark Dimension that are well beyond, what should be possible. So some of these people were banned as well. Now, there were, of course, other people who were kind of banned but didn't really do this. I have no idea. Maybe, I guess there were some issues here with that. But yeah, there seems to be combat related or skipping battles or, winning for free, this kind of stuff, blitzbotting. There might be a little bit more, so my apologies if I'm kind of just glossing over that. I'm not an expert when it comes to APK or APKs. So if you are, feel free to leave a comment in the down below and let me know what I'm missing out on. So it created a discrepancy in the logs, including unbeknown to us at the same time we performed these most recent bans, those we use for combat validation. Because of this discrepancy, 154 players out of the total 1,630 flagged accounts had logs that appeared to fail their combat validation, when in reality they hadn't. and were incorrectly banned. Again, we understand that this is a terrible misstep on our part. Yeah, it sounds like it. And we'll be using this week's incident to make our cheat detection even more robust to mitigate something like this happening again. We have since patched our detection system to prevent incorrectly flagged accounts in these situations. We'll also continue to add more robust data, which will provide us with more information, angles, and time to perform holistic analysis and investigate individual examples. A lot of this is kind of just big words, kind of fluffy talk. In the meantime, we'll be reaching out to the incorrectly affected players early next week and making it right with them throughout the course of the following days. If this was one of you, I would be very interested to know what kind of compensation that you receive, only because this was ongoing during the anniversary event, which was really important for things like, you know, clearing the dark matter milestone, you know, and not having those days to be able to clear these duplets or whatever you need to do to get the Celestial Essence credit or whatever it's called now. You know, those are days that you missed and were not able to work on the event. So yeah, if you were one of those people, you know, I'd be very curious to know what kind of compensation ends up coming from this. If you're one of those 154, I do know one of those 154, so maybe he'll let me know there as well. So this is a good first step. Now, what I am concerned about, obviously, from the intro, is that this doesn't address offer exploitation. This, mainly, as far as I'm aware, was just to do with APKers and, you know, exploiting that way. But this has nothing to do with the ongoing offer exploitation crisis. And this is something that I want to talk about here in the second part of the video. And, you know, if you guys have been around on YouTube, there was a video done by YouTuber Dutchrudder and Twitch streamer as well. And, you know, he said this very well, and I kind of wanted to take that and kind of, you know, put my own kind of thoughts into that, and using some of his, some of his words to describe, you know, the events that are happening right now, because he did it very well. I did talk with him, and he said this was completely okay, so I will be referencing some of that video in the second half of the video here, because it's super important, I think, to get this message across, and it's really unacceptable what's going on in relation to this. So let's jump on over to this second half of the video where we talk all about offer exploiting. Alright, and so here we are in the second half of the video where we're going to be talking all about the offer exploitation crisis. Now, you'll see here in the back, this is actually some screen caps that I took from Dutchrudder's video, which he again said it was okay for me to do this and for me to kind of reference his video in relation to my own, and how it's important to really talk about this. So he did this video really well, and I'll leave a link in the description below also of his video in case you want to check it out, because I think that's also really great. And we're going to get started and talk about this. So, you know, he titled his video, "Is MSF cheat to win?" And I think this is an important question to ask. So we'll go through the background really quickly here. I'm not going to go through all the personal stuff that he talked about, and we'll kind of skip through that. I took a handful of screencasts that we'll be going through, which is important to talk about. So recently I became aware, you know, I also became aware of this, of an exploit in which players intentionally do something during a purchase, which will then charge them and give them the items, but will not reduce the number of times that they can buy the offer. They can then continue doing this action to buy multiples of offers that were not intended to be purchased more than 1 to 4 times. So this is any offer. In case you haven't been watching any of my videos or any of my live streams, then you'll know that I talk about this pretty often, that there are, you know, sometimes good offers and what I call good valued offers. You know, there's a lot of offers that are pretty garbage in this game, but there are on occasion, you know, some pretty decent ones. And those are the ones that can be exploited multiple times. And that's the kind of things that Scopely is currently turning a blind eye on. And I think that is definitely not acceptable. And this is something that they need to be held to account for. So this is, of course, is an exploit that allows them for some serious advantages in a game that is fairly pay to win. Again, I talked about the offers that are crap, but on occasion there are offers that are good. This exploit has been available for some time and was reported to Scopely as early as summer of 2019. And more recently, you may have seen that there were some videos by other content creators and some other kind of Discord screencasts that this was brought to the attention of community managers some time ago, but it seems like they kind of swept this under the rug, tinfoil hat on, who knows why, but this hasn't been openly addressed at all, as far as I'm aware, other than the current Silver Surfer issues, and that's where a lot of this came to light. But aside from that, It hasn't been directly commented on by any of the community managers or any of the devs with regard to this, and this is simply not acceptable. This is simply unacceptable, is what I meant to say. My mistake. So supposedly it has been available since the beginning of the game 3 years ago. So there's been ample opportunity to make use of it. And so now let's be very clear about this, and I'm using Dutch's words here. This exploit is a cheat. It is getting an unintended advantage over a system that was designed specifically to not allow this to happen. And my apologies, Dutch. I actually don't, maybe I'm dumb. I don't know who Bob Ross is. Maybe I am too young for that. I'm also not American. I don't know if that counts for anything. But this is probably a bad thing, I guess. So it is an intentional ploy by some players to gain a significant advantage over everyone else in the community. There's also a spending component to it, which I'm sure makes the cheaters feel like they're immune to punishment, but that should not be the case. This is kind of the beginning that I wanted to kind of open this up to you guys in case you're unaware of what's going on. So on the second photo here, they said they will fix it in the future, but who knows when that will be. Let me say unequivocally, this is not acceptable. In fact, this is the opposite. It's completely unacceptable, and everyone who plays this game and doesn't use this cheat should be fucking livid. That's just words, but I also feel that way. I spent my fair share of money on this game over the past 3 years. You know, okay, maybe I haven't spent, I don't know what he spent, but you know, I spent, you know, probably over the course of my 3 years, I've probably spent about $600. I think I did a spending review of my own account some time ago. And I'll be damned if I'm going to be sitting here and let this be swept under the rug like so many bugs that continue to plague this game. If my dollars aren't as important to Scopely as those who cheat, then I won't be spending anymore. And on this point, those are his words, not mine. I've begrudgingly, I'll admit, I did buy the Silver Surfer offers. Not all of them, but I did buy some of them. I felt really bad about it. I still feel really bad about it because based on the state of the game that we're at right now, it didn't make me feel good to do that. And maybe I'm a sucker for Silver Surfer, just like some of you guys might have been. And, you know, we all got suckered into Silver Surfer. A bit of fear missing out, or FOMO in this case, by me, you know, because he's such a great character and he's like the #1 top character in the game. So my apologies to anyone who might be watching this as well. You know, Boylan's a hypocrite. And, you know, maybe I am in this case with Silver Surfer, but I have not spent any money on anything else other than Silver Surfer. So I want to make that very clear as well. Furthermore, those of you who do not buy offers, who do buy offers legitimately and don't exploit them, you're spending more money to upgrade characters, acquire shards, get orbs than those people who cherry pick offers and exploit the best valued offers in the game. This sends the message that your dollars aren't worth as much to Scopely as other players who are willing to cheat without repercussions. This is not acceptable for a competitive game and should be met with harsh punishment for cheaters, as well as a generous compensation for honest players who have had to unknowingly deal with it. We'll talk about it. Okay, so what's important here is that we'll come to these offers. You know, there's very good offers less than $5. Those are the kind of ones that are probably being exploited, you know, an infinite amount of times. And that's just not acceptable. If you guys remember those $1 orb offers, you know, why spend $20 US or $25 US on a new character offer when you can just wait and buy that $1 orb offer an infinite amount of times and get a 7-star character that way? That's the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. So here we go, and we're going to be talking about some of the offers, and this is what I mean. So $1 offers abound. This is the $1 long shot orb and below. That's the yellow jacket, you know, $1 orb offer. And these are the kind of things I'm talking about. And I haven't actually admittedly seen them lately. Maybe that's because of this problem. And that's, it's kind of, they're trying to stop it through that way. But they haven't directly addressed this. And that's part of the problem. So these offers that you've seen show up for $1, yeah, you bet there's going to be people out there buying 50 of them or whatever you need to do in order to get him maxed out. Because I'm damn sure that there is quite a few people that probably took advantage of this and are continuing to do so on some of those offers that are, you know, of what I would call good value. And that's just not acceptable. You know, and here we go. So the Valiant credit offer. If you guys remember this, this was the offer that was available to pick up shards for Ghost and Cull Obsidian. You know, and this is a huge deal, especially for newer players, mid-game players, kind of all players alike. You know, getting access to Cull Obsidian and Ghost Shards, who are very solid characters, you know, you could get, I forget how many shards this was worth, you know, it was just worth 100 shards or something like that. It doesn't really matter, but you could have bought this an infinite amount of times, however many you might have wanted to do to max out Ghost and Cull Obsidian. Ghost 2 was usable to unlock Jubilee, which this was available around the time and before Jubilee's event had finished. Things like the $50 50 shard, $5 offers, you know, for 50 shards. You know, some of these are really good characters, and, you know, I haven't seen very many as of late. So again, is this because they're trying to combat this by not offering these kind of offers anymore? I didn't mean to say offer twice, but, you know, who knows? I don't know, you know, because they're just so untransparent about this issue. So, you know, these could have been exploited. You know, people could have bought 5, 10, you know, times of these offers, and for newer players especially, you know, this will give them a significant advantage. And, you know, that's a completely another story. You know, new players need kind of a lot more catch-up mechanics than are available right now, but that's not the point of this video. But to allow people to unfairly take advantage of offers like this is also not okay. I don't care if you're a new player, mid-game player, or late-game player. You know, nobody should be able to buy this 10 plus times when the rest of us can only buy it once. Because if you guys know that these kind of offers on the regular are usually about 20 to 25 US dollars. I'm Canadian, so I mean the offers are a bit different price there. But, you know, they're not 5 US dollars, that's for sure. And so there are some particular standout offers that, you know, were offered to us in the past that had some insane value. So you guys might remember this. This is the 350k TCP offer that was, I believe it was like before the new year that they had this. They had a handful of them actually, but this one in particular, which had 75 T4s. If you guys have ever seen the offers for T4s in the offer window, it's pretty crazy. It's like something like $30, $40 for 50 of them. So the fact that they had 75 in this, and I don't know, I don't think this is the US dollar price. I think it might have been $3 US, something like that, which is even crazier, right? So what if people took advantage of this 10, 20, 50 times, you know, whatever. You know, this was a crazy value regardless. And it wouldn't be fair for other people to take advantage of this, and the regular scumbags, you know, who are trying to play this game fairly. We're just not, you know, we're only getting it once while everyone else is getting it tons of times. It's not fair. And it shouldn't be like that. These are the kind of things that we're talking about that should not be exploited. Nothing should be exploited. It's frankly cheating, and it's against, I would think it's against, please correct me if I'm wrong, like, it should also be against the terms of service. So it feels like Scopely's kind of cherry picking here about what they're willing to punish against their terms of service and what they're not. And so moving on, and this is a really good one here. This is the Elite 6 orb. You guys might have remembered this. So I don't remember if it came more than once, but you know, Dutch says here that it came from Thanksgiving of 2020. I do remember this specifically. I just don't know if it happened more than once or not. This was available for 25 US dollars. And this is crazy value. You know, I would never normally recommend buying Red Star offers, you know, but in this case, you know, this was better. I'm going to put this in air quotes here, you know, in terms of some of the value that you might see on regular Red Star orbs and that kind of stuff. You know, Elite 6 could have gone a long way. And, you know, I pulled an Elite 6 for Silver Surfer, and I got a 6 Silver Surfer. You know, really happy about that one. But, you know, my point is that this could give people a significant advantage if they could buy this more than once. 5 times, 10 times? You know, whoever knows. Or who knows? Depending on how big your wallet is and how much you're willing to exploit. And again, that's not okay. So I need to keep reiterating this, that all of these offers that are being exploited, regardless of what offers they are, it's giving a significant advantage over us regular players. And it's just, that's not acceptable, you know. Significant advantage to people in the game being able to buy this offer. One of the best sort of Red Star offers, I guess you could say, because a 6 Red Star means a crazy ton in this game. And I actually missed the photo down here. There was a photo of a regular Elite 6 orb. I forget how much that was, but I do know that it's significantly more than this one here. So let's move on. So Dutch goes on to talk about the punishment for exploiters. I definitely agree for the first two. I think this is actually pretty generous, but we'll talk about this here. So many of the offers exploited are the ones that save time and or money. And as punishment, I would tally up the amount of times someone performed this exploit on any offers and then give them the bans based on the amount of times it occurred. First couple of times could be a mistake, but after that, it becomes a pattern. And I will admit, first 2 times, you know, maybe it was an accident. Maybe somehow you did this and you didn't intend to do that. Any more than that, honestly, I would personally say that you should get a direct ban. I think, and you know, I think this is overly generous here, but I would personally say that anything more than 3 times should be a permanent ban to the game. You know, and not a stacking day ban. But you know, hey, we can start anywhere because anything is better than what we have now, which is nothing. So you know, I'll take what I can get. But I will admit that the first 2 times could be an accident. And so basically, Dutch is talking about like a rolling ban here. You know, kind of adding on time every time this is done, and because that does mean a lot. You know, if you get a 14-day ban stacked up, hypothetically, not only does that screw your alliance, but it screws yourself during events and other things like that. So, but, oops, I didn't mean to scroll up. At some point, we do have to say, enough is enough. And enough is enough, Scopely. Scopely needs to do so. It shouldn't be up to us to try and fix their game. They should want to fix the integrity of their game, I would think. You know, and so they really need to do something about this because this impacts every element of the game, specifically elements of the game that are PvP focused, you know, which is a lot. You know, we have Alliance War, Arena, Real-Time Arena, and who knows else what might come down the line if we do get PvP tournaments, RTA tournaments, or whatever you want to call them, you know, and Dark Dimension races, which is mentioned here. So did any of these people who beat Dark Dimension 3 or Dark Dimension 4 at the top end of the scale, or even if they weren't at the top end of the clearers, did they abuse these offers in order to get there? There's a good possibility that that is true, and this is just being swept under the rug. How widespread is this corruption? How far does this go? How many people in the largest alliances are taking advantage of this? I'm not going to point out any specific people, because I don't have proof of that, but I would like to think that there's probably people out there that are abusing this, and there's a reason why we haven't seen some transparency from Scopely about this, because some of the top Kraken spenders in Wales probably are abusing this. There's no way that 100% of these people are innocent. I don't believe that for a second. And so we definitely need this to stop, and I'm going to end this here talking about this bottom paragraph, actually. I consider the ignorance of this exploit by Scopely to be a tacit approval of those cheaters and their actions. Just because you gained money in the exploit process does not absolve you from dealing with it. That would be an insane line of thinking. But if that's how you feel about it, because you don't like doing refunds, then please state publicly for everyone so that we can acknowledge your abdication of responsibility as the steward of the game. There's no reason to play a game when the rules are not enforced for everyone, and some are allowed to break them intentionally without consequences, which is at the bottom here, that's kind of cut off. And so that's kind of where we're at with this game, is that some people are playing by the rules, myself included, and some people aren't. And that's just unacceptable. You know, I really hope that there isn't anyone, you know, who supports my channel that also, you know, does this. I really hope you don't. But I know that there's a lot of people, you know, in my own Discord community and elsewhere that are really frustrated with what's going on in the game right now. And, you know, Scopely really needs to kind of earn back some of the goodwill that has been lost by the community. You know, a lot of us don't trust that Scopely is doing things the right way. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So, you know, I would like to see something like this, you know, where they talk about, we took action against 1,630 player accounts. That's great. Thanks for giving us the number. Actually, that's, you know, more than I expected from them. But can we get this in the same way about the offer exploitations? Can we get a statement by them saying, hey, we've identified 2,000 player accounts, 1,500, whatever, and whatever the number is, that we have identified that have violated the Marvel Strike Force's terms of service, and we're going to do something about it. I would love to hear this from them, and I think if we could get something like that with regards to the offer exploitation crisis, we might be getting somewhere. But until that point, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they do anything about this. I don't know, or if this video is gonna do anything. I just wanted to kind of make my thoughts known. I also want to thank you, Dutchrudder, for making this out there even more. I know a lot of content creators aren't picking this up for one reason or another, but this is a very important issue here in Marvel Strike Force that I think really impacts the integrity of this game and comes down to the heart of how we spend our money. And I think this is a problem that everyone should agree is an issue. And if you don't think that's a problem, please do let me know in the comments down below as well, because I'd love to hear from you as well. If you don't think this is a problem, tell me why. Because really, this is a huge problem. This is, for me, the #1 biggest problem that this game faces. And I'm more than willing to die on this hill right here, because I think nothing else matters. We can improve, resources into the game for bottlenecks and things like that, but does any of this matter when there's other people out there taking advantage of other good offers to get ahead of you, the regular players who are playing this game fairly? It's just not fair. So, I just wanted to do this video and kind of explain some of my thoughts about what's been going on lately and, what more they need to do, especially with regards to the offer exploitation crisis. So please let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below. If I'm crazy, let me know that too. But I hope that some of this, sheds some light on the issue more than it already did. And I hope that more people will pick this up and more people will try and, spread this around. Both this video, Dutch's video, and any other content creator that wants to pick this up, because this is the biggest issue of the game, in my opinion. So I'll leave things there. Thanks everyone for watching, and of course, until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.